All right, welcome back. Here's our GMC Sierra tweet of the night. It's from Dave Damashek, who used to be an intern for me, by the way. He's doing well out in L.A., and he says, the choice seems pretty obvious to me about which hat Jim Leyland will wear, the Marlboro hat. Just want to say congratulations to the skipper. He deserves it. I was talking to him yesterday afternoon before the call came in, and I can tell he was nervous, and I think he deserves it based on everything he's done as a manager and bringing 3 division championships here in Pittsburgh. Andrew, I just want to get to the lines. We have a whole bunch of people who want to talk about the football, so we'll start with them, and we'll get your reaction to these calls, beginning with Robert in Dallas, Texas. Hey, Robert, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Bob? What's up, Pony? Always love it when Pony's on the show.
The Pony Express.
Real quick about the Penguins, though, Bob. You're so right. For years, they try to find that perfect pass on the power play. Just shoot the puck. I mean, please, just shoot the puck. And then with the Steelers, can Mason Cole actually snap the ball into the chest of the quarterback instead of at his feet, high, low, wide? I mean, even on the play Pickett got injured on, that snap was way right. So I really hope they can, practice that a little more. I mean, he is a pro. All right, guys, love the show.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, that is a problem, Andrew, and quite frankly, he's turned out to be a weak link on that offensive line.
That's why Mike Tomlin's decision to go for it on 4th down out of the shotgun was indefensible. And he had the wisecrack after the game that in today's NFL, that's irrelevant, that so many teams do shotgun. Yes, Mike, you're right. Most teams have a center who they trust to get the ball accurately to their quarterback in that situation. I don't know why he would think, with a new quarterback in there, that that was going to be something that was automatic on that play, in addition to the fact that when you're that close, most teams that get the yard, Bob, put the quarterback under center and do the brotherly shove play.
Right.
Exactly. I'm still mad about it a day later. Can you tell?
Yeah.
I'm livid about it. That play and that sequence lost them that game. It started everything downhill. It started the 99-yard drive that they never came back from, and the arrogance that they were going to go from the shotgun because that's what the rest of the that's not what the rest of the NFL does. And I just don't, Bob, at some point that loss Sunday is going to come back to haunt them and bite them. It's either going to cost them a division or a playoff berth or Mike Tomlin's streak of non-losing seasons. One of those 3 things is going to be negatively affected by that blown game yesterday.
Yeah, it's easy. You put Darnell Washington and any big body you have behind Mitch Trubisky and you push him. That's and get a yard. And then if that happens, what happens subsequent doesn't, and that's no excuse for the defense. You can tell me guys are out injured and everything, but you're giving up 4 third-down conversions, and many of them were 20, 19, 18 yards. They could not figure out McBride. And by the way, New England's bringing in a couple of nice younger tight ends, and I would be shocked if they don't go after the middle of the field.
He also said that he wanted to be aggressive because that's what you do in those situations. He won a Super Bowl against Arizona 15 years ago by kicking a field goal from 4th and 1 at the inch line. Do you remember that? You were probably there.
Yeah, we were.
They kicked a 19-yard field goal to start that game against the same team. So it was good enough to win a Super Bowl, evidently, but it wasn't good enough against a 2-10 team yesterday.
All right, back to the Lions. You sound like me on the Penguins power play right now. I'm getting frustrated watching it. Dave in Moon Township, you're on. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Bob. Before I get to my Steelers comment, I think it should be noted that exactly 50 years ago today, John Cappelletti won the Heisman Trophy.
There you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Has Penn State won one since?
No, but Trace McSorley's back in the NFL with well, he's been in the NFL, but he's with a new team.
What bowl game is picked on to, Mr. Fillipponi? Let's get to my Steelers comment. The Steelers used to be a model organization. Now they're a joke. No more exemplified by T.J. Watt saying the referees have a vendetta against them. Why don't you actually try stopping a 2-10 team from going 90 yards instead of whining about the officials? Then you have Deontay Johnson celebrating a meaningless touchdown with 4 minutes to go in the game.
That was a bad look.
Run the asylum, and you know why? Because Tomlin lets them, unfortunately.
Well, I just, first of all, that says more to me about Deontay Johnson a week after what happened last week, and he's doing that. And again, that was a garbage touchdown. I wouldn't have done it because it's a garbage touchdown. They're allowing you to do it because they have the clock on their side, Andrew.
Well, the whole thing about Deontay Johnson last week is that he was going to prove to everybody that he was all about the team and that play in Cincinnati was not one that was going to define him. I disagree now. I think he showed his true colors again on Sunday by celebrating and making it about himself when his team was getting blown out by a bad team. And Roethlisberger, to his credit, even ripped the guy on his podcast for doing that. Good for him, because it was embarrassing. Yeah. As far as Watt's concerned, he gets held a lot. He's frustrated by it. You know what? He's earned the right to complain, in my opinion, because he's living up to his end of the bargain. He was leading the league in sacks going into that game. You want to get on other guys' cases for not earning their money, go right ahead. But that's a guy I'm not going to single out at all, Bob. He's a borderline defensive player of the year candidate right now. And as Mike Tomlin put it, you got this right. He is the best defensive player on the planet currently. And
he was being held a lot, and he does have a complaint to make because they're so erratic with what they're doing with these calls. And by the way, I still don't understand what a catch is. I'll never understand it. I thought for sure that was going to be ruled a touchdown by Trey McBride. He ended up getting a mulligan. Next play, he scored anyway. But I just don't understand what they're looking at, and it was correctly called a touchdown because that's the way you start the process of the automatic review. So they did that right, and yet in the review, I don't know what they were looking at because I thought it was the wrong call on the review.
Well, it makes me think, though, then, Bob, if Tomlin had challenged the play in Cincinnati, it wouldn't have been overturned.
Yeah, but Steratore said it would have. You know, I don't know.
Well, what did Steratore say about this Trey McBride play?
It was going to be a touchdown.
Because it looked like the same thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't understand it. It should be a lot clearer than it is right now. Let's go to Nancy in Tarentum. Nancy, you're on. What's up?
Hi, Bob. Hi, Andrew. My question is about Mason Rudolph. I'd like to know why they won't put him in and give him a chance to show us what he's got.
Well, I think
put him in for a quarter or whatever.
See, you sound like Chris Hoke. I know that's what he wants to see, but I think Tomlin explained it today that he hasn't gotten enough reps. But I will say this, if this game falls apart early or if they're down and there's not much going on with the offense, I would not at all be surprised to see him in that game.
Or if they lose, he starts the next game with a long week to get ready because you'll have the extra time coming off a Thursday night game. Yeah, you know, Bob, I think Mitch Trubisky is in a situation where he can either play well enough to keep the starting job or he can perform poorly enough where he's benched very quickly. I don't know if you agree with that, but he really is in an interesting situation because of the way that Kenny's played as the starter, but there's also a qualified third stringer. And there aren't many situations, if any, in the league that resemble this one, where a backup could be benched quickly or can actually earn his starting job back with good play.
That's an excellent point. No doubt about that one. Back to the lines, we got Brad in Brookline. Brad, you're on the Nightly Sports Call. What's going on?
Hey, guys. Do you know it's comical and laughable when you talk about maybe the Steelers in the playoffs? They gave up a 99-yard touchdown drive to a 3-10, 4-10 team?
No, 2-10 now, 3-10.
It's absolutely inexcusable.
Well, again, they did a good job. They attacked the weakness, and the weakness was the middle of the field. Michael Walker is good in limited sample sizes, but if you have to play him as much as they did, that's a problem. And the other thing is, I think you saw Kyler Murray. He may not be what people thought he was when he signed that huge contract, Andrew, but he's now back a few games. You saw what poise can do in the pocket. This is something I wish Kenny Pickett would try to emulate a little bit more. On that drive, he stepped up every time in the pocket to allow plays to kind of simmer down the field, and he put it on the money to the big tight end who had a height advantage and a big time advantage over anyone in the Steelers secondary.
I actually thought the biggest play of that drive was it was 3rd and long, and it looked like Arizona was convinced to just punt the ball and win the field position battle against the Steelers. And they did a draw play to their backup third down running back, Michael Carter, who broke that Michael Walker tackle and ended up going for a first down and then some. That was a give-up play by Arizona, Bob. And instead they get the first down, and that's what kick-started them for a touchdown. Looking back on it, if Walker makes the tackle there, they punt, and maybe the Steelers win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But it caught them a little off guard, too. I think they were expecting the ball to go down the field, and it didn't. All right, we got to take a break. We have Brian, we have Paul, Mike, others. We'll try to squeeze as many more as we can. You're watching the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We do it 7 nights a week right here on KDKA Plus, and some nights 93.7 The Fan.